Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Friday, September 6, 2024. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my daily rundown best bet in the MLB, as well as my college football and NFL season passes, you can find those at the premium picks tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Friday in Major League Baseball. First up, the lone afternoon game for the Friday card is the Yankees and Cubs from Wrigley Field. We got Luis Gil and Jordan Wicks on the mound in this one. And we know Luis Gil's put together a great campaign with a 12-6 record, 3.39 ERA, and 144 strikeouts. But he is coming off a small injury, and he had a rehab start back on September 1st, which wasn't the strongest. I mean, he had 6 strikeouts in 3 2/3 innings, which is what you're looking for. But 4 base hits, 3 earned runs, a couple of walks, and a hit by pitch. The control was off a little bit in that game, and I do think that, when we saw him before the injury give up the 7 earned runs in the last 7 innings, a little bit concerning. Now you face a Cubs team that we know has been one of the best lineups in baseball in the last month plus against both righties and lefties, and Jordan Wicks on the other side pitching as well as he has recently. I got to roll with the Cubs in this game on the money line. Next up, the Colorado Rockies taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. We got Ryan Feltner and Frankie Montas on the mound. This is a game where I just think the Brewers are a little bit overpriced. We know that the home team here and the Rockies have not been great on the road this season, but Ryan Feltner's definitely improved his game recently. Frankie Montas has still given up 8 earned runs in his last 2 starts combined, and Feltner also faced these Brewers earlier in the season at Coors Field. One of his best starts of the year. It was 5 innings of 1-run balls. So I think that Feltner can go 4 or 5 solid innings in this game, keep his team in this ball game. Now, I don't necessarily love this Rockies bullpen, so I'm just going to go with the Rockies in the first 5 innings, plus a half a run. I think they'll be able to get the Montas for a couple of runs early. I think the Rockies still have a chance to win this game outright in the full game, but for the first 5 innings, give me the half a run. Next up, the Washington Nationals taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. DJ Hurts and Luis Ortiz are your starters. I like the under in this game, but I'm going to take the under in the first 5 innings. We mentioned Luis Ortiz was supposed to go on Thursday. They moved him to Friday. I think it's a good spot for him. He's in great form. He was, last 12 innings, shutout baseball. Strikeout numbers are starting to get there as well. So I look for Ortiz to go 5-6 strong in this one. And also DJ Hurts, his last game wasn't his best against the Cubs, but we've talked about how strong the Cubs have been offensively. Now you face a Pirates team that's near the bottom of the league against lefties in the last month in OPS, isolated power, WRC+, you name it. So this is a much better matchup for Hurts, who was pitching really well before that game against the Cubs. So give me the under here in the first 5 innings. Next up, the Tampa Bay Rays and the Baltimore Orioles in the AL East. We got Shane Baz going for Tampa Bay, no official starter for the Orioles. I'm looking at the under in this game as well. I'm going to take the under in the full game. I like both of these bullpens. Shane Baz for Tampa Bay, a right-handed pitcher, facing an Orioles team in the last month has not been special against right-handed pitching. They're below league average in team OPS and isolated power. Baz is pitching pretty well. He's given up 3 earned runs or fewer in 4 of his last 5 starts. And I look for him to put together 5-6 quality innings in this game. And, the Rays offense has been one of the worst offenses in baseball in the last month, especially against right-handed pitching. The Orioles have a strong bullpen like we mentioned. Give me the under in Rays-Orioles. Next up, the Chicago White Sox taking on the Boston Red Sox. We're going to see Davis Martin and Nick Pivetta on the mound. Now, looking at this series and the potential starters, this is the game that I think the White Sox have their best chance at winning. When you look at the Orioles series that they just had, we know they got crushed in the first game, crushed in the second game, but they are in the blowout win in Game 3 of that series, and that's all it takes for a team like Chicago, who's getting prices like this, to be a profitable bet in a 3-game series. If you take one of those games at this kind of an underdog price, you'll be fine. So I think if there was a opportunity to take a shot with Chicago in this series, this would be the one, because Davis Martin is pitching. He's been their best starting pitcher recently. His last game wasn't his best, but he's given up 3 earned runs or fewer in 4 of his last 5. The Red Sox, Nick Pivetta's not in the best form. He was a little bit better last time out, but it still ended up being a Red Sox loss. And not only is he not in the best form, giving up 8 home runs in his last 5 games, but the Red Sox as a team in general are not playing that great of baseball as they start to slip in the AL wildcard race. So for me, I think it all adds up to with the White Sox competing in this ball game. We saw them hit 3 bombs in that last game against the Orioles. That's going to benefit them for a game like this against Pivetta, who's given up a ton of home runs in his career. Give me the White Sox here, plus the 1.5 runs. I'll take a shot with Chicago. Next up, the Cincinnati Reds taking on the New York Mets. No official starter for Cincinnati, but Sean Manaea should be going for the Mets. And I know the Reds have been a better road team than they are at Great American Ballpark, but I don't think it's going to matter, at least in this specific game, as Sean Manaea is in great form. He looks like a completely different pitcher. His strikeout numbers have really improved, and the Mets are winning a lot of his games recently. He faces a Cincinnati lineup that's just been so-so against lefties in the last month. Pretty low isolated power rate, right around league average in team OPS, but a steep strikeout rate of 26.5%. I think that benefits Manaea, who's missing more bats right now. I'm going to go with the Mets here, who are in the midst of that playoff race in the National League wild card. Give me the Mets on the money line. Next up, we'll go to Lone Depot Park as the Phillies take on the Marlins. We got Zach Wheeler and Edward Cabrera as the starters. Now, Kyle Schwarber is on a roll right now for Philadelphia. We know he had a 3-home-run game in one of those games against the Blue Jays and followed it up with another bomb in the next game against Toronto. And he hit one not too long ago against Edward Cabrera. It was actually a grand slam at Citizens Bank Park in a 9-5 Phillies win in a game where Miami took the early lead. I think they had multiple 3-run leads, but Kyle Schwarber's grand slam was enough to propel the Phillies to a win and a run line cover, and I see something similar here. I would take Schwarber to hit a home run in this game. Cabrera's given up a good amount of home runs recently, and with Zach Wheeler on the other side for Philadelphia, the Phillies are a huge favorite, so not a ton of value, but I do think the Phillies win the game and cover the run line, so that's where I'm leaning for this one. Next up, we see the Toronto Blue Jays taking on the Atlanta Braves. Kevin Gausman and Max Fried are your starters. Now, Kevin Gausman's definitely been the most competitive starting pitcher in this Blue Jays rotation. We know that he had a rough start to the season, but he also was returning from injury. He started the season late to begin with the injury, and ever since those early season struggles, he has been sharp. 7-4 record on the road this year with a 2.52 ERA and 75 innings away from Rogers Center. I think he pitches well. I mean, the Braves are a hot lineup offensively, but I think Gausman can go 6-7 strong innings and give his team a chance. I mean, Max Fried has not been the sharpest recently. He's given up 2 home runs the last game. The Phillies, the Braves are 1-3 in his last 4 starts. The Blue Jays have solid numbers against left-handed pitching in the last month offensively. So for me, the value lies with the Blue Jays in this game, money line and plus the 1.5 runs. Next up, the Los Angeles Angels taking on the Texas Rangers. No official starter for Texas, but we should see Samuel Aldeguerri for the Angels. Now, in his first start of the year, it was 5 innings of 2 earned run baseball, but there were 5 unearned runs as well. I know the defense didn't help him out much, but still, 7 runs given up in a 9-5 Mariners loss against a team like Seattle. Not really the most impressive outing. I do worry about him here, even though the Rangers have not been the most consistent offensive team. We are starting to see them, though, get going offensively. They had a nice series against the Yankees, scoring plenty of runs, and even in the Oakland series, their bats were a little bit more competitive. So I'm going to roll with the Rangers in this game, but right now, not my favorite game on the board. Next up, we have a great matchup here between the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Houston Astros. Brandon Pfaadt and Framber Valdez are your starters. This should be a very fun series to watch. Framber Valdez, it's not easy to face this Diamondbacks lineup no matter who you are, a lefty or a righty right now. They have been arguably the top lineup in baseball in the second half of the season. They do such a good job of getting on base and limiting strikeouts. But Framber, he has been excellent. Not only just the fact that he's pitching well, but the Astros are winning a ton of his games. He's been one of the more profitable pitchers in the league in the last 3 months or so. And it's tough to go against Framber in this game at home. Brandon Pfaadt, nice outing for him in that last game against the Dodgers. The Diamondbacks are 4-1 in Pfaadt's last 5 starts. He had 10 strikeouts in that game against LA and a blowout win. But he has given up 8+ base hits in his last 4 starts. That's a lot of base runners, a lot of jams, a lot of opportunities for those opposing teams. Now, not all those teams were able to take advantage of those opportunities like the Dodgers weren't, but I still think that Pfaadt is not necessarily in the best form right now. In his last 4 of his last 5, he's given up a home run. I think that the Astros can get to him, and I think they win this game at Minute Maid Park, but this should be an excellent series. Next up, we see the Kansas City Royals and the Minnesota Twins. Zebby Matthews and Cole Reagans are your starters. We saw Zebby Matthews pitch well in his first 3 games at the major league level, but he really struggled in that last one against the Blue Jays, giving up 9 earned runs, 10 base hits, and 3 home runs in a 15-0 Blue Jays win. It's tough to trust him in this particular outing, even though the Royals have not been playing their best baseball in the last 10 days or so. I still think they'll be able to get to Matthews, and with Reagans on the mound, he also has not been the sharpest in his last couple of games. We saw him give up 5 runs in that last one against Houston. I still think he's a much better option in this game. He's pitched well against the Twins earlier in the year. I'm going to roll with the Royals in this game on the money line. Next up, we see the St. Louis Cardinals taking on the Seattle Mariners. Bryce Miller and Eric Fedde are your starters. The Cardinals have quietly put together a pretty good run of games in the last couple of series. I mean, they haven't lost a series since they dropped the series against the Dodgers at Busch Stadium a while ago. And, they took the series against Milwaukee, the Twins. They split the series with San Diego, won on the road at Yankee Stadium, and were very competitive on the road at Milwaukee. So I like them in this matchup. I mean, Eric Fedde, maybe not as strong, as a starting pitcher with the Cardinals as he was at the beginning of the year with the White Sox, but I still think at Busch Stadium he can put together a good outing. And Bryce Miller has not been in the best form recently. Gave up 3 runs and a home run and only 4 2/3 against the Angels in that last game. The Mariners have now lost 3 of his last 4 starts, and we know that Mariners offense is not very trustworthy. So give me St. Louis in this one on the money line. Next up, we see the Oakland Athletics and the Detroit Tigers. We got Tarek Skubal and Mitch Spence on the mound. Tarek Skubal, the favorite to win the AL Cy Young, and for good reason. I think he pitches well. He's in great form right now. The A's are, kind of a tough matchup at times, but they have not been the best against left-handed pitching in the last 30 days. On the flip side, you got Mitch Spence. He's been better at home this season. He's in decent form his last 2 starts. And the Detroit Tigers in the last 30 days ranked 22nd in baseball in team OPS against righties, 26% strikeout rate. These are 2 offenses that I don't really love, especially I like the A's lineup, but more so the top half of that lineup with Bleday, Rooker, Butler, and Shea Langoliers, but the bottom half has not really been the best recently. Give me the under in this game. Next up, we see the San Francisco Giants taking on the San Diego Padres. No official starter for San Francisco. We should see Michael King going for the Padres. Now, Michael King has struggled a bit with his control recently, giving up 3+ walks in his last 3 starts. But I'm not really too worried about that, especially in this matchup. It'd be one thing if King was giving up a bunch of home runs and extra base hits. I'd be worried about him against a powerful Giants lineup. But the Giants are 21st in baseball in the last month against righties in walk percentage. They have a steep strikeout rate at 27%. I think it's actually a good matchup here, a good bounce back matchup for King. I think he pitches well, 6 quality innings, and I think the Padres go on to win this game in the end. So give me San Diego, and I'll lean towards the under as well. And the final game we're to talk about for the Friday card in Major League Baseball, the Cleveland Guardians and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Matthew Boyd for Cleveland, Landon Knack going for the Dodgers. For me, the value lies with Cleveland. I mean, Matthew Boyd has pitched really well. He pitched well in his rehab starts, and he's pitched well in his first 4 starts at the Major League level this year. 22 2/3 innings, right around a strikeout per inning with 20 Ks, and a 2.38 ERA with a sub-1 whip. He has been excellent so far, and the Guardians are 3-1 in his first 4 starts. The Dodgers are a tough lineup, but they've just been so-so against lefties in the last 30 days. Landon Knack is a solid option for LA, but the Guardians are a tough matchup. They limit strikeouts. They're just a really tough lineup to prepare against. They get on base, and they also have a very, very good bullpen. So if this is a close game late, I got to give the advantage to Cleveland. At this kind of price, I'm going to roll with the Guardians on the money line. And that's it. Those are the games for Friday in baseball. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, and put those baseball picks in the comment section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bet, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.